My friend fakes proposal to his wife at restaurants and gets free food and drinks often. What butthole moves are you not butthole enough to pull off but sometimes wish you were? When people complain in a restaurant about a perfectly good meal just to get it for free. The reason I hate this so much is because it's genuinely scummy and makes the server chef host feel like they've done a poor job even though more often than not, they haven't. My boss signs my PTO, paid time off, i.e. vacation, forms but gives them to me to bring to HR. My boss does not see my paychecks, which are the only thing that list how much PTO I have. HR has no idea whether I'm working or not on any given day, since we're on different floors and I work remotely a lot anyway. I could easily bring my PTO form to my boss, and then toss it in the recycling, and take the days off without losing any of my accrued PTO time. Repeat as often as desired, as long as it's not often enough to make my boss suspicious. When I quit, cash out my maxed out PTO days. Sadly, I'm too ethical to do this. Your boss may receive a report with PTO and that you don't know about, depending on where he is on the food chain. Throwaway. I work with a guy who makes 6 figures. He and his wife had a divorce. They still live together and are completely happy together. The divorce allows him to max child support payments to her and get reductions on his taxes. In addition, she takes every single government handout for single moms. When his first kid went to college, he got a full-ride minority hardship scholarship since he has his mother's Hispanic last name and she has 0 income. This scam has netted them thousands and thousands of dollars. The doctor I work for has a couple friends who went on a cruise together with their families. Apparently one of the guys brought a blind person's cane with him. He would walk around knocking things over, and every time he went onto the deck, even though the chairs would be all used up, people would give him their seat. I normally wouldn't believe a story like that, but I met the guy he is talking about and he is definitely the kind of jackass that would do something like that. But see, something like that would be difficult to pull off for a whole cruise. Plus you'd have to miss out on some things to keep up the ruse. I'm a bartender and I always have to admit that I have a boyfriend when guys ask if I'm single because I just am such a bad liar. I know I couldn't pull it off just to try and flirt and get better tips. I do the opposite. I'm a bartender and I say I have a boyfriend when I don't, to avoid being hit on by drunk men. However, I'm in the UK and don't have to worry about tips. I know a guy that loves to go to baseball games. I won't reveal which stadium, but I'm sure many make the same mistake. There is special seating right behind the plate, for which the tickets are very expensive. Not only because of the location, but also because you get free food and drinks the entire time once you're there. So my friend is pretty talented with Photoshop and will look up the remaining seats for that section about 1 hour before the game, and then edits a ticket with the seat you want. Then it's as simple as buying tickets for the cheapest seats in the house. So, how this special section works is you get scanned at the gate, and then they visually verify your ticket at the entrance to the section. So you scan the cheap ticket, and then pull out your fake ticket and get it visually verified. As long as no one comes in and has tickets for your seat, super unlikely, then you're golden and you've just gotten free drinks and food, along with arguably the best seats in the house. I've never done it, but I admit I am pretty jealous sometimes. I actually used to do this with pit tickets at concerts. Went to probably 6 amazing concerts when I was like 18. I hate seeing buttholes drive on the shoulder in the breakdown lane when traffic is backed up. Rather than wishing I were butthole enough to do the same, I veer out just far enough to block said breakdown lane so that the buttholes have to get back in line. I recently saw a GIF image of someone driving on the shoulder, and they drive up the guardrail and get stuck. It made me so happy to see that instant karma. I tried to search for the GIF, but I just realized I'm one of those people that sucks at googling things. Slamming on my brakes so the douche tailgating me slams into my truck. I think I'll just install a switch for my extra tractor light instead. If it's daytime, turn on your lights. The sudden tail lights usually work as well as brake lights. A friend of mine used to go to bars with his GF, but they'd act like they didn't know each other. She'd flirt with another guy and get a bunch of drinks bought for her. When she was halfway lit, he'd move in and act like he was cock-blocking. Then he'd pull this lightning fast pickup and start making out with her in front of whoever had been buying her the drinks all night. Holy frick, that is just a crappy thing to do. They are god-awful humans. Fat sucker that used to go to my school used to put a strand of hair into the last bite of his McDonald's Big Mac just so he could get another one for free. I have a good friend who, once he is a few dates deep with a new gal, always arranges cake tastings. You get to essentially gorge yourself with delicious wedding cake for free. Pretty catchy. See, this is why lots of companies now charge for tastings. Too many buttholes scamming them for free food. Also, I would immediately dump a guy that was like, let's pretend we're getting married so we can eat free cake. Not only creepy, but super sleazy. I mean, come on. An entire sheet cake is only like $20. Dong moves. I wish I could pull off half the crap my customers do on a daily basis. I'm a server at a fine dining restaurant. Fake birthdays, engagements, planting hair or bugs in food, etc. Don't flatter yourselves. We aren't fooled. We're either too lazy to care or too embarrassed for you, or the poor friends you drag into your schemes, to give a frick. So we go along with it. Some fat frick at a table scarfing down his third birthday dessert of the month. Jokes on you, pal. Plot twist. Your friend began developing early onset dementia right before the wedding. Knowing that he will never remember the happiest moment she shared with him, she humors him out of her love for him. Sounds like an Adam Sandler movie. My friend asks for fries without salt so they make new ones. He waits, gets handed hot tasty french fries and then asks for salt. 99% of the time, salts them on the spot. Dong move. There's a locally owned Chinese buffet like 20 minutes from where I live. The owners are super nice, and when someone pulls a dine and dash, they take pictures of them leaving. They have a collection of like 30 or so photos on the front door, all captioned with, "Hi, we like to eat and then leave without paying." For midnight premieres of really hyped up movies that he's psyched for example, The Dark Knight Rises or something, my friend will put his coat on the seat in front of him so no one will sit there and block his view. My god, that is brilliant. A relative of mine pretended to be handicapped to get off a cruise ship before everyone else. Got in a wheelchair and everything. I know someone who did this for his whole life, getting paychecks from the government. His name was Ray or something. I went to a strip club a month after my 21st. Sat next to the older rich dudes. Get into conversation with them and tell them I just turned 21. They take it as I turned 21 that day and I got a round from each of them. It was pretty sweet and I didn't feel bad because I wasn't trying to get free booze or anything. I have a friend who told me that he knows a guy who goes to Sonic when it's super busy, sits there for 10 or 15 minutes, and presses the button to tell them that they forgot to bring out his drink hamburger etc. They then bring him out a drink hamburger etc that he never had to pay for. Not me, but someone I knew in high school used to grab lots of iPads at Walmart on Black Fridays, put them in his cart and act like he was going to buy them. Then people would pay him for them to buy themselves. Pretty sure you can't just grab a handful of iPads, they're usually locked in a display case. Especially on Black Friday, you're probably not gonna get more than say 2 at the most. One day at Starbucks, I saw a guy walk in, pick up his phone, and then yell my wife's having a baby. He got to cut the 8-person line and get 4 free coffees. A lot of people I know steal money out of the till or stock from their jobs and no one ever notices anything, and the discrepancies are usually put down to a clerical error. I'm broke and we sell some pretty nice things at my job, but I wouldn't dream of doing anything like that. Okay, maybe I would dream about it, but I'd never do it. In high school I knew a guy who would buy a ticket to a movie, go save seats, then walk to the doorman and tell him he lost his stub. Guy always remembered his face and he could go to and from the front lobby passing out ticket stubs to all of his friends to get them in for free. I don't know how the edits work, but I should clarify. The scammer gives his stub to his friend on the outside so that the doorman will let your friend in. Scammer doesn't need a stub because the doorman will remember him. Doorman doesn't know anything but that the scammer should be allowed back in because he saw him going out earlier and supposedly had a stub at one point which he lost. That would only work for one friend. No employee is going to believe you lost your stub more than once. That's an obvious scam. Source: I work in a movie theater. Anytime a restaurant gives you something for going there your first time, I always say on repeat visits, this is my first time here. Free appetizer please. The newer Coke machines with conveyor belts and a glass front can be tricked into giving you an extra soda for free. I found out about it but couldn't bring myself to do it until the day one of them ate my money. In my world we are even. Stealing someone's parking spot when they've been waiting forever. That's just too ballsy for me. Also, cutting in line when it's a crowded place with indistinguishable lines. It's a technique, I swear. I see it all the time whenever I travel. Butthole tourists come up from behind, stand next to you, and then slowly but surely edge you out. They're almost always huge dudes with bitch face wise GFS. I'm a tiny female so I keep my mouth shut. I know a family that likes to take their dog everywhere. A lot of stores, restaurants, etc. don't allow pets, so they bought a service dog vest online and put it on the dog whenever they go places. Came here to share the same story. My dad and his brother have a black lab that they take everywhere. The dog isn't a service dog, but he's old and fat and just lays by my uncle's feet when he takes him into restaurants and stuff. It's not really that scummy, I guess, because no one is really getting scammed out of money or anything. I just realized, you are all living in your own personal Seinfeld sitcom. You all have George Costanza in your social circle. There is a pet store near my house that normally only sells small pets like hamsters, birds, gerbils, etc. But once a month they bring in puppies and kittens from local breeders. They don't let you hold any of them unless you're going to buy one. So I always pretend like I'm looking to buy so I can snuggle kitties and puppies for a few minutes. Then I say I need some time to decide and go home and cry in my no pets allowed apartment. I have a friend who has 5 kids. 3 of them are disabled through one means or another. She uses her disabled children to get into 3-4 high value toys for tots programs every Christmas. Last year's take included 2 3DS's, a Wii and a few of the playsets like kitchens and such, which she then gave away because she had no room. Free birthday presents, specialty cakes, clothes, school supplies, and even food, all year round. Because of her donations, and the multiple SSI checks they draw, they were able to splurge on a 72 3D TV and top of the line surround sound system for their bedroom since she didn't have to pay for new things for her kids. I have one disabled child, and although I wish we could get the freebies like that, sometimes I would be mortified to do it, ever. Consider accepting some of the freebies. They are there for people who need them. You don't have to be homeless and starving to need a little help now and then, and a disabled child takes an enormous amount of care. The idea of not accepting help from anyone as a point of pride is somewhat outdated, and if you stick to that idea, you're gonna have a bad time. My aunt will tell the waitstaff it's one of our birthdays, without telling us, so we can get free cake or ice cream, while being publicly humiliated at the same time. My friend in San Diego drives around with a blow-up doll in his passenger seat so he can drive in the carpool lane. He's never been caught. Awesome. My ex-boyfriend once told the security guard at the DCOTA that we had just gotten engaged that day and that he wanted to show me around. He explained that his mother had a showroom there and that he'd spent much of his youth running around the halls. That part was true, but the engagement was pure BS so we could frick around inside late at night. I worked like a charm. The security guard was a sweetie and let us in, and we got to drink a couple beers and fool around with each other in a pretty cool place. Probably pretending to choke on food at restaurants. He does this constantly to save money because his mom is in care and he needs to save the money. I look at him and say, really? Right now then, finish my food. He gets a free meal and keeps in contact with the people that save him. They send him money and help him out. He's done it so many times. Some people that were saved him he doesn't recognize at first. This sounds like something that Chuck Palahniuk could adapt into a book. Accidentally a douche. We go to Red Lobster occasionally at work, enough to know that they have a fresh fish menu, and that we are not interested. So one day my coworker preempts their spiel. Yeah, we know about it. Me, works at the one in nearby town with another Red Lobster. Didn't pay attention really. At end of the meal we all have like a 40% employee discount. There was a club I went to that would give anyone who had a birthday a free bottle of champagne. It was my birthday every weekend. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.